Well, it's happening. The original Star Wars film, fully restored to its first release version, is returning to the big screen in February 2027. This is massive, my fellow nerds, and it's significant. Why would Disney restore the original cut instead of just rerunning the latest edition? What does this decision signal about the future of the franchise? Oh, and does it have anything to do with the highly anticipated Starfighter movie arriving in May 2027, starring the charismatic Ryan Gosling? I did some sleuthing, and what I found surprised me. You see, I grew up with Star Wars. As a kid, I watched and rewatched the original trilogy. I lost myself in that galaxy far, far away, a place that felt alien and strangely familiar at the same time. Then I'd step outside, look up at the night sky, and dream of living among the stars. For my young, impressionable mind, these weren't just escapist tales of good versus evil. I always felt they carried something deeper. In Star Wars, the galactic civil war isn't the point. It's the backdrop for the characters' emotional journeys. Those films taught that young boy to believe in himself, to believe that the human spirit could overcome any techno-dictatorship. And frankly, that theme feels even more relevant today, in an age of AI and omnipotent tech giants. So yes, do I want to see Star Wars in its original form on the big screen? Absolutely, sign me up. I was never a fan of the 1997 special edition. I want to see Han Solo shoot Greedo in cold blood. I won't miss the clumsy CGI that added nothing to the story, the meaning, or the soul of the film. Sure, the originals look dated, they're imperfect, but their very flaws are what make them endearing. They were the children of a passionate creator, not the soulless corporate products Hollywood keeps feeding us today. But let's talk about my little investigation. Why is Disney doing this now? To understand that, we go back to 2012, when Disney bought Lucasfilm and announced the sequel trilogy. Remember that electric sense of anticipation? The hope that our beloved franchise was about to be reborn. Surely the sequels would be better than the prequels, right? Well, not everyone bought into that optimism. I remember thinking,
I have a bad feeling about this.
we don't need to reopen the sequel trilogy wounds, enough has been said. It was The Mandalorian that finally restored my hope. It captured the spirit of the originals. It had heart. It felt like a labor of love. And for 2 seasons, it worked beautifully. That's where the Din Djarin and Grogu story should have ended, on a clean, satisfying note at the end of season 2. But no. Oh no. Disney smelled success and did what corporations do best. They milked it. Story logic took a back seat to shareholder appeasement. See, Disney's stock slid hard in late 2021. They needed a win. The Book of Boba Fett dropped in December 2021, but failed to revive the magic. Meanwhile, there were no theatrical Star Wars films in active production. The Ryan Johnson trilogy and other projects? Indefinitely on hold. In other words, dead. So Disney doubled down on The Mandalorian. Season 3 arrived in 2023, reheated leftovers after a once glorious feast. Character development was as deep as a kiddie pool. The dialogue was as sharp as a stormtrooper's aim. But hey, it checked all the modern California approval boxes, and apparently that's what really mattered. Some people say this is just viewer fatigue, that Star Wars is dying because audiences are tired of the same tropes. But is there any real evidence for that? According to Google Trends, Star Wars is just as popular in searches today as it was 5 years ago. Millions of searches every month. On YouTube, Star Wars channels pull millions of views. Fan films go viral and now compete with official trailers. Even in 2025, after the Acolyte disaster and a string of underwhelming projects, fan passion is very much alive. There isn't audience fatigue. If anything, there's a hunger for original stories set in this universe. Meanwhile, Disney hasn't released a single Star Wars movie in 6 years. Disney Plus hasn't grown as fast as projected either. Subscriber numbers have declined since their 2022 peak. Well, this isn't just a Star Wars problem. Look at YouTube Premium's steady rise. Nielsen reports YouTube now dominates TV viewing among media companies, beating both Disney and Netflix. That should terrify boardrooms. Some fans are canceling Disney Plus to watch fan-made content instead. Because ironically, the fans are delivering more satisfying Star Wars than Disney is. And yes, Disney executives see this. They know there's still massive demand for Star Wars that feels fresh and faithful. They're not abandoning the franchise. So what's the plan? They've rediscovered that people still go go to movie theaters. Shocking revelation, I know. They want to return to one theatrical Star Wars release per year. But there's one major obstacle: fear. Fear of another public fiasco. So they play it safe with The Mandalorian and Grogu. If, and it's a big if, it tells a compelling story instead of pushing another agenda-driven lecture on gender politics, it could succeed. I'm cautiously pessimistic. But Starfighter. Now that's a different story. And yes, I'm excited and I'll be following it closely on the channel, so make sure you subscribe for updates. It's the first Star Wars film since 1977 that feels like a true beginning. It's not yet another extension of the Skywalker storyline. It takes place after the rise of Skywalker, but it doesn't continue Rey's story. Tragic, I know. We'll miss that perfectly flawless, overpowered Mary Sue. But maybe, just maybe, it's time to turn the page on flawless, overpowered protagonists and return to what made Star Wars great in the first place: flawed, quirky, unforgettable characters. And that's where the decision to cast Ryan Gosling could prove decisive. Sci-fi fans remember him from Blade Runner 2049, and he's also set to star in the highly anticipated adaptation of Andy Weir's novel, Project Hail Mary. Check out my video on that film to see why I'm so hyped. Yeah, Ryan Gosling has potential to become the next great sci-fi icon in the tradition of Harrison Ford or Will Smith. He's versatile, he can do drama, he can do comedy, and most importantly, he knows how to play characters that feel human. Exactly the kind of actor you want for a relatable, slightly broken Star Wars hero. Starfighter will introduce entirely new characters with their own struggles and stakes. Gosling's character won't be saving the galaxy this time. His conflict is more personal, centered on protecting his young nephew in a dangerous, unstable post-war galaxy. And that's why this project doesn't feel like a spin-off. It feels like the moment when Star Wars quietly turns the page and begins its next chapter. We'll come back to Starfighter in detail in a dedicated video, because there's a lot more to unpack. But for now, let's return to the original question. Why is Disney releasing the original version of Star Wars now? Sure, cynics will say it's an easy cash grab, but releasing the untouched original just months before Starfighter feels symbolic. It's a reminder of what made Star Wars magical in the first place. One of my biggest beefs with the special edition was how it rewrote Han Solo. In the original cut, he shoots Greedo in cold blood, then casually flips a few coins to the bartender to cover the mess. He does it with a chilling swagger that makes his appeal instant and undeniable. Han wasn't a hero yet. He was a dangerous man with a blaster and a code of his own. The special edition sanded all that down. Suddenly, the cantina shootout becomes self-defense. Then the added CGI scene with Jabba doubles down on the reinterpretation. Han the unlucky scoundrel, not the seasoned criminal. The edge is gone, and with it, a part of what made the character iconic. Personally, I don't want politically correct movies or shows anymore. We've had enough of those. My plea to creators is simple: stop playing it safe. Give us something edgy. Give us something gritty. Give us something true like early Mandalorian or Andor. Who knows? Maybe Starfighter will finally mark the start of a new era in Star Wars storytelling. And yes, regardless of all the noise, I'll go watch the original Star Wars in theaters. I hear the haters already. Don't go see Disney movies. Don't feed the corporate machine. But I'm not honoring Disney. I'm honoring George Lucas. I'm honoring the story that shaped my childhood. This isn't a betrayal. It's a return to the roots of one of the greatest modern myths ever told. Do you feel optimistic about the future of Star Wars? Leave a comment below.